My name is David Trotter. I'm the founder and publisher of Awaken Magazine, and I'm so excited to be with you tonight. We are in the middle of our launch week of Awakened Hearts, this incredible book, Sacred Stories of Breaking Free and Rising Higher. And I don't know why I hold it up, because I've also got it right there, so you can see it in both real life. This is the beautiful hardback copy, our incredible authors, their pictures on the dust jacket here. And this is full of 25 stories of awakening to consciousness, mindfulness, spirituality. And it's our second anthology book. And what we're doing each day is just having the opportunity to go live with some of our contributing authors, to have you get a chance to meet them, hear about their own journey, how they're making a difference in the world, and a little bit about the writing process. So I do, before we jump into that, want to encourage you to pick up the book. And you can do that at awakenedheartsbook.com. That will take you right to the Amazon page where you can get the Kindle paperback or hardback. Right now, we're a #1 bestseller in, I think it's like the New Age self-help or something like that. And so it's so exciting to be able to hit those bestseller lists. And I think we've got 40 5-star reviews. So encourage you to pick up the book and leave a review as well. That helps us spread the word about the book and all the incredible stories that are in it. So today we have with us, boom, Ida Nalbandian, Denea Hugunin, and Michelle Wollaston. It is great to have each one of you with us.
Thanks for having us.
Yes. I should have oftentimes before we jump on, I put your guys' URLs below your names. So maybe I'll do that while you're talking or something. I don't know if I could, might get distracted because I want people to be able to connect with you. But it's so great to have you with me tonight. And I want to just begin by having you introduce yourself, sharing a little bit about who you are, how you serve others. Some of you serve through your writing, some of you through coaching and readings and so forth, but maybe just a little bit about yourself and how you serve the world. So Ida, do you mind getting us started?
Sure. Thank you for having me. Good evening, everyone. I'm an author who explores time-tasted modalities of ancient healings that are lived and experienced in modern times. In my work, I trailblaze and highlight the possibility that a more balanced life already exists. It's just waiting just behind the next page. And that through more harmonious way of living, when we make attentive choices, I attempt to unlock the gate to a better, more harmonious way of living and encourage self-reliance through attentive choices.
Thank you, Ida. It's great to have you. Yeah, and I love that background you have. How cool is that? Yeah, super fun. Michelle, tell us about yourself. And Ida, do you mind sharing where you live? Just because I think people find it
Los
interesting.
Angeles, Southern California.
Los Angeles, we're neighbors, kinda. People go, well, how far are you apart? Well, it's not mileage. It's like, well, I could be to Ida's house in 45 minutes
Correct.
or 4 hours. Just depends on the day. Yeah. Michelle, how about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are, and how you're serving the world.
Hi, David. Hi, everybody. I'm about an hour and a half out of Sydney in Australia. I serve the world. That seems so grand. I work primarily with women, usually in their midlife years, so that they can better understand their energy, how they can work with their energy rather than pushing against it. So I use tools such as astrology and human design, and I might occasionally pull a tarot card or two. And I then mentor them, for the want of a better word, how to live within that space more easily.
I love one of the ways, although you didn't mention it today, I like one of the ways that you talk about your clients is people that have, or women who have kind of lost themselves in the midst of life.
Yeah, I often say that, we disappear, especially when we're in that,
yes.
That 40 to 60 age group. We have so much put upon us, and a lot of it through ourselves, expectations of, as I say, we're mothers, we're partners, we're daughters, we're workers, we're business owners, we're community members. So there's a lot of noise that goes on that can bury us. So I work with women to learn how to put some boundaries in place so that that noise is a little bit lower.
Wonderful. And you also have a podcast.
I do. Soul Loom podcast, available on all your good podcasting networks. So feel free to jump on and have a listen.
That's great.
And
Wonderful.
I have a book, Awaken Hearts,
Yes, a best-selling book.
a best-selling book.
Wonderful. Thanks, Michelle. Denea Hugunin, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, David.
It looks like you're in this like red light therapy room. What's going on there?
My little magic lair.
I love it. Tell us about yourself.
So I was born psychically blown open. I specialize in a lot of different things, but I essentially help people connect them back to their multidimensionality. I help you understand your layers to yourself, layers to yourself on the timeline, reincarnational karma, reincarnational trauma, medical issues, animal communication, just so many things. So that's what I do. And I help people through, personal readings, going to start classes, teachings, all kinds of things in the works right now.
Yeah, you do a lot of personal readings. I'm glad to hear that you're starting to do some classes and so forth. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah, training other people who would want to develop their psychic abilities.
Yes, in many ways.
Yeah, good. Well, it's good to have you.
Thank you.
I want to begin by talking about this concept of awakening. We obviously call the magazine Awakened Magazine and Awakened Hearts. And the vision behind this book, if people have not become aware, one, this is our second anthology. Our first one happened to be called Awakened Hearts as well, with the subtitle Stories of Embracing Light, Love, and Limitless Possibilities. I started Awakened Magazine a little less than a year and a half ago, and I started hearing all of these amazing stories of awakening, and I kept thinking, we've got to get these out far and wide. We have to get these into people's hands, because people who are wrestling with, is this all there is to life? Is there more to life than this? Or I'm having these intuitive experiences, but I don't know how to integrate them. I don't know what this means. And so if we can have stories like Ida's and Michelle's and Denea's, it becomes a mirror for you to say, oh, okay, if they can go through that, if they can figure out how to develop health in their life like Ida has, if they can figure out how to find themselves and have voice and growth like Michelle and Denea, having how to navigate these intuitive abilities, I can do that too. Right. So that's the whole point in the book. And the great thing is, in the back of each chapter is the contact information for the contributing author. So if you resonate with their story, most of them will provide support and encouragement in some way, whether it's one-on-one or courses or group sessions, whatever it might be. So anyway, I'm curious about your thoughts, your definition, your perspective on the term awakened or awakening. Ida, would you mind going first and sharing a little bit about that for us?
Yes. I believe awaken, it's never-ending process. We possess an external vision that is perceived with our eyes and an internal vision that is perceived with our heart. This inner vision rooted in the heart becomes accessible when we awaken. The heart's vision is an intuitive form of seeing. So when we cut through the illusion of life, I believe awakening is when we are free of confusion, of unseen threads that bind our existence. And then the distress fades. I begin investing in my soul, and I only kneel to the voice of my heart. Everything else becomes part of it. But the leading voice is the voice of my heart. I believe that's what awakening is.
Mm-hmm. And so the antithesis of that, sometimes for me, I just think about the antithesis of some of these concepts helps me understand the concept a bit more. So the antithesis would be that I'm not in touch with my heart. I'm not listening to my heart. I'm not even aware that I have a heart. Would you say that's true?
If I may take just a little longer time to explain, when the baby is alive in the womb of a mother, how do we know there is a baby? First, the hormones start signaling the change. Then after 6-7 weeks, the first visual direct evidence of the fetal heartbeat is a light detected on a screen. And how is that light created? The beating heart creates a tiny moving echo that shows up as a flicker on the monitor. So who are we? We are the light and a sound vibration. So the heartbeat is the sound vibration and the light is who we are. Those two things indicate that the life began. So my understanding is we just have to stay connected to that heartbeat. It's there. It's just how do we connect to it? It varies from one person to the other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing, Ida. I appreciate that. How about you, Michelle? When you hear this word awakened or awakening, what does that mean to you?
I think it's a word that actually can be very confusing for people. I mean, for someone like me who grew up in a house where spirituality was every day, like I've been doing this since I was in my teens. I've been listening to mediums since I was 12 and 13. You know, my dad's book collection was things like Eric von Daniken's Chariots of the Gods and all that sort of stuff. So for me, it wasn't an awakening as such because it was always there.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people hear awakening and they think it's going to be a big bang and an explosion and you're suddenly going to have psychic powers or you're going to see extra dimensions. I think it's more that you get to a point at some time in your life where you just become aware that there is more than what is currently happening for you. And that is going to be on a different extreme for everybody's own situation. And I think through that awareness of this doesn't work for me anymore, or there has to be more, or I have a calling to do more, I think you start to deep dive into information and topics and you read depending on what you're pulled towards. Some people go into psychic ability development. Some people go into reading tarot cards and oracle cards and pendulums. I think it comes to everybody differently, but I think it's more just that awareness that starts to come upon you, that you want to look for more.
Mm-hmm. Beyond the five senses, something beyond the body, something beyond the externals of what our world wants us to focus on.
And I think so that your human experience makes sense to you, that it's not just get up, eat, sleep, go to bed, get up, eat, sleep, go to bed. It's there's a purpose as to why you're here and what you're supposed to be doing for your soul evolution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you find that, I know you said that, you know, early on you were surrounded by this by your parents and your dad's book collection and in your teens. And I know you were sitting with mediums at an early age in your home, which is such a fascinating, very unique experience. But for most people, right? And I know you're in Australia, so I don't know if perhaps the culture is much different, but do most of these moments of saying, is there more? Do you find that happens later in life? You know, is it possible to have that question arise in your 20s, perhaps?
I think, well, if I look at it through an energetic lens, yes, I think it is. I think it's possible to have it happen to you at any age. But I think when you're younger, because when we're very young, we intuitively already have it. It's something that's actually taught out of us by our parents and our community and our schooling. We're sort of taught not to trust it and to become very literal and to look to the tangible. So I think for it to come to you earlier in life, it's usually because there's been a moment happen. It could be that there's been a crisis happen to you or a traumatic experience or a near-death experience, and it's kind of gone bang, light bulb moment. Energetically, I think it comes to us, and I can only speak for women, but I'm sure men have a similar experience. As you sort of get to 40, which is the beginning of your perimenopausal years, there is also a lot of astrological transiting happening, which starts to mean that the energy is pushing you in a certain direction. So as those years go on, 40 and 50 and 60 and so on, I think there is an energy push that people feel. They don't always understand where it is or where it's coming from, but that's what it is. It's an energy push that is asking you to re-examine and to reflect and to release as you move into those year birthday type phases. And
Mhm.
often we'll go, oh, we're having a midlife crisis, and you run out and you buy the Ferrari, or you suddenly change jobs, or you leave your husband, or whatever the trigger point is. But a lot of that is because that's what the energy is set up to help you do.
Mhm. Thanks for sharing, Michelle. Appreciate that. Danae, how about you? How does this word awakened or awakening, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, you guys nailed that. Like, I loved what you guys said. That was a lot of what I was going to say. And I think the beauty about awakening too is it is different for everyone. Some people, it's blissful, it's normal, it's always been there. Some it's trauma. Me, I had a lot of trauma, and so it's different for everyone, but there's a beauty in it, because at the end of the day, it's really just about a homecoming to yourself. And it's about what I feel like returning to original programming, which is who you are, which is like that naked version, vulnerable version of yourself that is a clean canvas, free of, programming and expectations from society, your parents, peers, all those things. And I think that's so the beautiful aspect of it, because you're really seeing through your lens and not through everyone else's lens. And so, there's power to that. And that's where I feel like, there's that resiliency, meaning, we all come here for different reasons, but how many of you, are living out a path that maybe your parents said, or the education system said, or someone projected onto you? You're just like this purity of yourself. And for me, it's just been so liberating. And, it's not, and I also want to say that a lot of awakenings for people too, especially if it came through with trauma or, harsher things, do not have shame, because a lot of those times, those harder situations are the exact things you came in to break through, to break out of. And maybe you've been stuck in these cycles for lifetimes and lifetimes, and now you're finally at this point where you're like, I made it. And there's so many people, everyone knows someone who just doesn't wake up. And so I always say, congratulations if you are someone who has made it to that point where you are awake, you are thinking, you are conscious, you are taking responsibility as a conscious creator, you are creating your life and leaving your legacy in the world and doing good, or whatever that looks like for you. It is honestly it's an achievement. It really is.
Thank you, Danae.
Yes.
I feel like you're kind of passionate about these things.
I'm so passionate, David. You know I am. I am. I do not half-ass anything in my life, especially my work.
I love it. So I want to hear about how life is different now. And now I know recognizing that it's not a one-time experience in terms of awakening. And I know many of us have had intuitive experiences early on, but there has been some breakthroughs, ego deaths, learnings, right? And so I guess I'm wanting you to give you the opportunity to describe what is life like now, having been through, however you would contextualize it, an awakening, growth season, right? Whatever that might be. And I would love for you to kind of tie it into your chapter. Now, I've got here in front of me Ida's chapter. And so you'll see her wonderful picture here, the hidden rhythms of healing, chapter 12. She writes, a swooshing sound in my ears awakens me from a deep sleep. Inside the back of my head, it feels like a river cascading up and down, crashing against the sides of my face, piercing my inner ears. I sit up. Intense dizziness pressures me to stay sitting. What is overpowering my usual strength? My husband calls the paramedics, fear etched on his face. And I mean, this is just a powerful introduction. I mean, I'm like on the edge of my seat going, what is going on with Ida? What is going on in her body? And you go on, of course, to share about your health journey in this chapter. So tell us about how life is different for you now in contrast to, another previous season of life.
What I experienced through
Well, we got some
all
a little audio issue there, Ida.
Yeah. It's not coming.
Breaking up on you.
Can you hear me?
It's interesting. It was different than it was before. So did you happen to make any changes or no?
No.
Try again.
Okay. What I unlocked in my own self, there is a hidden reservoir of resilience that when I do the right things, my cells respond, they repair whatever needs to be repaired, and my vitality was restored. It felt like body knows what it needs to do. It's just I need to do the right choices. I need to give it the right choices. And how do I find the right choices? Through the testing.
Hey, Ida, I'm going to jump in on here real quick because what you're sharing is super important and I want to hear it, but your audio has gotten really crackly.
Again,
so I think what might be helpful is you
let me
maybe just
turn on again. How is that? I turned it off and turned it on. Is it good? No?
Oh, yeah, it sounds a lot better.
Okay.
So you were talking about that your body responds to the choices you make. Is that what I was hearing?
Right. And it was vast pool of choices. I really dived in to explore ancient healing systems.
Ida, we got some audio problems going on here, my friend. So here's what I'm going to suggest. I'm going to move on to Michelle, but why don't you leave the live stream and then come right back in and I'll let you in and hopefully that'll fix it. All right. I want to make sure we got good audio. So Michelle, you have a very fascinating story of different twists and turns that you have gone through in life. And well, let's see if I might preempt you here, Michelle. Ida, let's check your audio here real quick.
Hello, testing.
Give me some more.
I don't want to interrupt speaker.
Hey, I think we can hear you now.
Okay.
All right. Keep going.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah. I want to hear about how life is different. Your audio was so crackly. Now I think it's good.
Okay. So I had to embrace the wisdom of ancient healing systems, yoga, Tai Chi, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and then Dr. Clark's parasite cleanses, Dr. Group's parasite cleanses. It was a vast ocean of choices. It's not just one thing. And then Wim Hof's breathing methods and Dr. Dillard's system. I mean, name it. I tried it. Why did I do it? There was some inside voice that was leading me, find more, because the symptoms were coming back and I couldn't understand. And then there came a moment when the body shifted and then it took charge of its own recovery. All I had to do is, it was a testament to the ancient wisdom reborn in me as a healing modality. And I was just grateful to have that opportunity to study those choices, consistently apply. And it's never ending process. Health is not an ending process. And how did it, who do I become after I make those choices? A better me.
Mm-hmm. I really appreciated your chapter 1 because it's riveting to, hear the crisis that you went through and then the journey of research. You are a lifelong learner, right? That is just a passion for you. And so often, as I think, Denea and Michelle mentioned, that awakening comes in the midst of crisis, in the midst of pain. And so for you, it happened to be a health crisis, and then started questioning the presuppositions of Western medicine and what you had been taught. And it's super powerful, super powerful. I want to read, if I may, the last couple of sentences of your chapter and encourage people, of course, to read it themselves. I gave my body a chance to heal itself, and it proved that it can. I didn't force my body. I just allowed it to work its way through the right choices. Health and wellness are not a destination. It is a path that needs to be tailored to one's own needs. And I share this story to ignite a self-belief in your own innate powers. May this story find everyone who seeks healing and assist them in finding their own body and mind powers. As stated by ancient scripture, seek and you will find. Yeah. Yeah. I love your tenacity. Like, I just feel like you're a tenacious person and you're a lifelong learner, and you're sharing that wisdom with others. Yeah. So thank you. Michelle. All right.
David.
I'm going to read. For years, I wore invisibility like a second skin. It didn't begin with bruises. It began with tension, criticism, disrespect, and silence. The kind of erosion that happens so gradually, you don't notice how far from yourself you've drifted until something breaks. And then you go on to share about the emotional abuse that you had experienced in your marriage. And oh my goodness, it was, one of the things that happens in every one of these chapters that I read is empathy and connection. Oftentimes authors will say, "Oh, should I share this? It feels so vulnerable. Are people going to judge me? Or, am I going to be like," I'm like, no, no, no. Like, I mean, when I'm reading this, I'm like, I just want to come to Australia and give you a hug. Like, it's like, my goodness, like, I just, so much connection and so much empathy. So, the name of your chapter is Remembering the Woman I Buried to Survive. So maybe share a little bit about how life is different for you these days in contrast to this season of life.
Oh, well, it's different because I don't live in that energy anymore. I was in that relationship for 27 years and had 3 children and had a house and a mortgage and all the normal things that everybody has as part of their life. But living in that constant underlying energy is what breaks you. And for me, and from what I can tell from lots of other women's stories that I've heard, and there's far too many of us, you tend to just go into some form of automatic control just to bury what's happening around you because you've just got to keep functioning. And so many people will say, well, why didn't you just leave? And that's just such a complex question that it takes you a lifetime to answer. And you don't even really know why you didn't just leave until you've left. And then you can look back on it and you're like, why didn't I just leave? But even now, I probably can't find the answer to that. But what I did find that was once I left the relationship and was back on my own, and I mean, I was in my early 50s when I did that, it was being in that silence that was what allowed me to heal, because it allowed me to go back and to reflect and to realize that it wasn't me, it wasn't my fault. What was probably my fault was that I allowed it to happen for too long, but that's easy to say in hindsight. So what's different for me now is that through that process, I came back to my practice, which, as I've already said, I always knew was there. I never doubted any of the spiritual practices that are available to us. But when I came back to it consistently and deliberately, life just becomes easier when you tune into that intuitive part of you and you just learn to trust it all the time, no matter how crazy it sounds. Sometimes you just go, okay. It just makes everything flow more easily.
Mm-hmm. What is an example of something in your life where you've heard something kind of crazy in the last year or two and you're like, okay, I'm going to trust it, and like you move forward with it? Anything come to your mind?
Write a book. So like when I wrote my first book, I just kept getting this feeling that I'd had lots of experiences through COVID where I was participating in a lot of things online, as we all did, because we couldn't leave the house. And in the spiritual space, it absolutely just skyrocketed. There were people running courses on whatever you could think of. They were running a course on it. And I just found that there were so many people that were in things that they shouldn't have been in, they weren't ready for, they didn't have that underpinning understanding. So I just had this nagging thought the whole time that there needs to be just like a textbook around what it is and what it means. Break all of that simple stuff down, all that jargon. You know, you can't just say to someone, oh, you need to raise your vibration, because people look at you and go, what are you talking about? So I get a lot of downloads like that. Normally when I'm doing mundane things like putting out the washing or driving the car. And yeah, I don't worry about how, I mean, they're usually not crazy. They normally make sense to me. They might be crazy to everybody else. But even when that sounds a bit like, no, surely not, I'll just do it, because I've learnt that if it's not meant to happen, it will fall over fairly quickly. And then I just go, okay, no, that wasn't it. Or maybe it was it, because I need to learn not to do that again. But yeah, I just go with everything now and don't overthink it, which I think is the whole point. You have to just learn to trust that inner voice and move with it, regardless of what the outcome might be.
Thank you for sharing. Denea, let's see here. I've got echo coming through on mine. Let's see here. All right. I want to read the last couple of paragraphs here. They're super encouraging and inspiring. And then love to hear how life is different for you. Your chapter is called A Psychic's Perspective, and it's really challenging, I guess, people's, programming, how they have been and are continuing to be programmed, and bringing that to light and sharing about your own journey. And you encourage people in the last couple of lines. You say, you did not land here on this planet by accident, contrary to what society may have you believe. This lifetime will be one for your own record books. So I encourage you not to waste it on limiting yourself or by following anything other than your own inner voice. Seems like a theme for tonight. If you are reading this, remember that it is not by accident. Believe that you have brought something into this world, a piece of the giant cosmic puzzle that no one else can offer but you. So get curious and be inspired. So yeah, what a wonderful chapter. Tell us a little bit about how's life different for you these days?
For me, especially in my generation, heavily programmed, trends, education. Every generation has its own program. For me, it was really things out and kind of like being an observer in a bigger scale, and really about stripping myself right to what I said about the awakening of, and really realizing that as was projections and things. And so when I stripped myself of all of that, it kind of really, because you're kind of getting to know yourself. You haven't ever.
Danae, we're actually having the same problem with your audio. It's actually different. It's like cutting in and out. And so odd. I don't know. I haven't had this issue on any of our live streams, and we've got a couple. Do you mind just popping out and then pop it back in?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see if that does it. Kind of wacky. Don't want to miss with the wisdom that you guys are sharing. So as we're doing that, as Danae's popping back in, I do want to draw back to your attention, whether you're watching this live or you're joining us on the replay, that you can get the book. You can get it at awakenedheartsbook.com, and you can pick up the Kindle version, this paperback version. It's got all the author's wonderful faces on the back here, and 25 stories of awakening to consciousness, mindfulness, spirituality. And even as we're talking tonight, we've got such different stories between the three of you, that's what I love. That's the whole point, is like everybody's story is unique. So Denea, let's see if we can hear you this time.
How's this sound?
Oh, keep going. We'll tell
Is
you.
it better? Okay.
Sounds better. Yeah.
Was it off the whole time, or did you guys
Pretty
get any of that?
much. Yeah.
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 So what was the question again?
How is life different for you
Oh,
these
yes.
days, having gone through your awakening journey?
Yeah. So prior to my awakening journey, I definitely feel like I lived in more fear. I was definitely in that really human mindset that life happens to me, not for me, that I'm a victim to, like I was in that heavy programming for a long time. And since I'm not in that anymore, life has been honestly really abundant. And I know it sounds cheesy, but I know myself in ways that I honestly wasn't even prepared for. Even the multidimensional aspects, knowing what I'm connected to, who I'm connected to, my multidimensional or my reincarnational history, the reincarnational karma, all this stuff which is tied into my work has been so freeing for me. And it's almost like an obsession to a sense. Like I just want more and more and more, like expansion and expansion. And I just feel more free. I feel more myself. And I'm not easily triggered. I used to be like really triggered in my older days, younger days. And I just feel more solid in myself. And my confidence is just so much more grounded in. And I feel like I'm actually on my path, like I'm in my soul purpose, my blueprint, what I came here to do. And that has been really good for me. So I don't, the feeling of not feeling lost or, constantly seeking for guidance outside of myself. I trust myself and I trust myself, to follow my own lead. And that for me has been huge, huge. And, I know I talked about my journey of mothering, and that has been a huge part of my story too. And a big part of my legacy is my children. And, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all of it.
Hmm. Talk to me about the writing process for you as you sat down to write the chapter. Where did you write it? When did you write it? Did it flow easily? Was it challenging? Like what came up for you? What was that like?
You know, you know how you evolve over time, and then maybe sometimes you look back and you're like, wow, I really went through that or really overcame that. And at some points it was a little triggering. Not in a bad way, but it was like, wow, I really did go to the depths of my soul, like the trenches of myself to really commit to myself to live a better life, whether that's mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I really made a commitment to being the best version of myself and not having that fear of, dark night of the soul and all, when you meet yourself, you're also largely meeting the parts of you that are very painful, And so that for me was game changing. And when I just wrote it at home and it just flowed through me, and it was healing for me in a sense to be like, because a lot of this, I've been on this awakening journey for years, but a huge mass events happened in 2020 for me. And so I remember being in 2020 having like panic attacks, and I don't have panic attacks, but thinking, how am I ever going to get on the other side of all of these creations that I've created for myself? How am I ever going to survive this? And now I'm sitting here being the opportunity to be a best-selling author. I have my own business. I am, financially self-sufficient, like all of these things that, I started from nothing. And so that for me is so empowering. It was kind of cool to be like, I made it. I made it. And I followed that unknown, which is scary when you can't see the whole picture. But I didn't give up. And that was kind of cool to write everything out and be like, all right, I'm on the other side.
Yeah, so powerful, powerful.
Yeah.
How about you, Ida? What was it like writing this chapter for you? Oh, you know what, Ida? I've got you muted because I think some audio was coming through. Let's try again. Go for it.
First came the health crisis, then witnessing the miraculous change, and then the shift. And after all that took place, this is how I get my text messages from my higher self to do something.
Ida, we got the audio issue again. We are really struggling tonight to get this message out.
Do you want me to exit and come
Yes,
back?
please leave. Please leave, Ida. We want you to leave and come back. Oh my goodness. Come on, make it work. Make it work. Give it to me, Ida. What do you got?
First came my health crisis. How are we doing?
We're doing great. Sounds
Okay.
good.
And then after that, I witnessed the shift and the change. And then I would get this on the back of my spine. I usually get the quiet messages downloading right there that you need to write this down, you need to write this down. So I started taking notes, how the whole journey was, and it was a combination of observations, what took place, and then when I saw the opportunity to submit the story, I have a system that is created that works for me. I believe I mentioned this before. I either bury my feet on actual sand and I have like ocean sound next to me, or I bring that home with me. I have this fabric lined basket that I fill up with the sand from the ocean. I put my feet in it so I'm completely grounded. I put some white noise like ocean sound, bird songs from Australia, and then I am super focused and it just comes through.
Do
And
you put
after
this?
that,
Do you
it's
put
the
this basket?
technicalities.
Do you put this basket of sand under your desk, or
Yes,
is it like so? It's
yes, yes, it's under my desk.
yeah.
It's my
I
my
remember you
friend.
telling us this before. That is so unique. It's so good.
That came from my heart doctor, who said you need to do a lot of grounding. Your feet need to see. I was like, how am I going to do this living in a town? And then the download came, go get the sand, bring it home. And I was like, okay, how am I going to do that? And next to next. And then I love just putting my feet in. And it's like immediately I become my better self and everything flows the way it's supposed to for me.
Yeah, I might have mentioned this on the last time we had this conversation, but I'll say it anyway. They sell grass that comes in the mail for people that live in apartments for your dog to go like potty right on the grass, and like you get a subscription like every 2 weeks or something. And when you told that, I told Mandy, I go, I think I'm going to start a subscription of grass and just have it underneath my desk. So I'm just sitting with my feet in grass all the time. I haven't done it. I'm afraid it'll stink up the office like with a weird smell. But anyway, that could be like a cool new business that we could start because people are
Subscription.
selling it for like dog pee spots, but it could be for grounding in your office.
Yes, because it's so needed for people like me who could use to balance their heartbeat or whatever needs they have.
Yeah, keep going. I'm so sorry.
No,
But
no, nothing to
I
say.
love that you use that technique. That's amazing.
And that's pretty much it. It just downloads and I listen to the voice that tells me what to do. There are other voices, of course. The voice of the heart is different. It's the quiet one that is like behind my ears. It's right there. It's quietly whispers whatever it needs to whisper, and I can't mix it with any other voice. It's just there, and I get happy when I am more tuned into it, and other voices know not to interfere.
Okay, I've got maybe it's a little bit of a personal question, but it's very fascinating to me. Ida, is English your second language?
Correct.
Okay, so what is it like for you to write in your second language? I only speak one language. I don't know what this is like. So is it feel easy and fluid for you, or is it do you is
I had to.
what's your first language?
I Armenian and Russian.
Okay.
Uh, I had to teach myself English by applying a system because I'm a former university lecturer. So I was teaching linguistics and languages at the university. So the system I picked for myself, this is my created system. I copied billboards. Like, what is the most memorable thing we have? It's billboards, right? So I would buy post-it cards and I would write new words on it and I would stick it on the mirror where I'm brushing my teeth or making a cup of tea, and I continuously look at that word. The moment I memorize it, then I would look for the definition of it. I would not look for definition, because if I look at definition, I'm going to forget. So I eventually came to the point where I was more comfortable with the language, and then my inner voice was like, you have to write. I was like, how am I going to do this? This is not my mother tongue, right? And then the universe just knows how to break through, and all we have to do is just allow it.
I just am so impressed by that you are writing in, I know people do it all the time, but for somebody who only has one language, it's just very impressive to me. So
Thank
I'm
you.
impressed. It's amazing. Yeah. So good. Well, thank you for sharing. And Michelle, I want to make a joke because I think I'm funny in these scenarios that somehow Michelle, that English is a second language for her because she has an accent. That would not be funny to make that joke.
I keep telling you, David, it's you that has the accent, not me. We have had this speech before. Australians do not have an accent.
I know. I'm the one who has the accent. Yes.
We
you're correct.
understand each other just fine.
And you know what's funny is I have actually used that in other interviews when people have an accent. I go, I know I'm the one with the accent, but I'm just, I take ownership now. I have the accent. I actually had a very Southern accent because I grew up in Kentucky until I, moved to California when I was 16, and I got just harassed for my accent in high school. It was, yeah. People, I would walk in, they'd be like, golly, look at this place. This is amazing. I'm like, stop making fun of me, okay? Okay, Michelle, tell us about your writing process.
Well, I don't have to change from my Australian accent into an American accent in my brain or anything like that. I don't actually think I have a process. I think because I have a learning and development background, I've developed written content for many, many years. So putting words on paper didn't really, yet the context of the words didn't change. So it just sort of happened the same way. I think as far as writing about my story and being able to do that as authentically as I could, I'd already been writing for some other publications and some articles. So I was very used to telling my story. So I think it was just another way of putting that down onto paper that married with what the book was looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Without the accent coming through.
It's so fun to hear everybody's different, experience in writing, because some people, this is the first time they've written something like this, and it can feel terrifying and overwhelming from a like you said, Michelle, like, how do I put my thoughts down on paper? And then in the same time, I'm processing something that perhaps is very vulnerable. And then there are other people like yourself who have a lot of experience, and it just kind of, flows naturally. So it's always fun to hear people's different experiences. I would love to hear about your hopes for your chapter and your hopes for the book as it kind of makes its way out into the world. So Ida, would you mind sharing with us a little bit of, like, what are your hopes?
Within the pages of this book lies a getaway to our untapped power. This book guides each reader to awaken their inner strengths and channel them towards personal fulfillment and the greater good. When countless individuals embark on their own self-transformation, then the collective evolution takes place. And I believe it takes place through sparkles of light, the lamps that David lights up and makes others find their way. Then the mission of the book is accomplished.
Wonderful. If people want to connect with you, follow you and your work, what would be the best place for them to connect?
I use Instagram for my late son's, in his memory, we have a foundation, and it's called Vahagan Foundation. On Instagram, I put daily quotes or wisdom, and my books are on Amazon. This is book number 9, David.
Yeah, that's amazing. So good. So when this goes to replay, I'll put a link, of course, to your Instagram in the caption so people can find it. So
thank you so much.
yeah. Denea, how about you? What is your hope for your chapter in this book as it finds its way out into the world?
I hope that I can inspire people and just give them a different perspective on how to look at their situations or awakening or just life, right? Sometimes when people read your words, it can spark something or an insight, a new awareness, something. And I really love, David, that you have created this because I think that this is a book that is timeless and will continue to grow in numbers. And, I don't know if you're planning on keeping, putting them out, but I love this idea because everyone has a story to share. And now, instead of people feeling so isolated in their experiences, we now have material that people can read, not feel alone or feel, that there is a community out there that is also going through the same thing, different in their own ways, but there's a whole world of people who are on this path home, right? Coming home to themselves. And that's why I love this book. Like when you told me about it, I was just like, you got to be kidding me. This is such a great idea. It's so right on time, David, like so right on time.
That's awesome. Well, there's a reason why we have 1 and 2 on the spine there. Because I am inspired by the old school Chicken Soup for the Soul series because it made so much of an impact in Michelle, was that did it make its way? I know it's a worldwide phenomenon, but did you have an impact or inspiration from that Chicken Soup for the Soul series in Australia?
Possibly, but until I heard you mention it, I'd not actually ever heard of it. So maybe not.
Yeah. It originated in the U.S. I know it made its way around the globe, but essentially they're inspiring short stories that were oftentimes captured by particular, like they would have 4 authors that would do the entire book. But anyway, it made such a big impact here in the U.S. in terms of inspiration. And so I was inspired by that to say, okay, well, how can we have lots of people telling their own stories? We actually have our 3rd book that will be coming out for Mother's Day called Sacred Bonds. I started feeling like I wanted to have give people the opportunity to tell stories around different themes. And so this will be around motherhood. It'll be around either you as a mom or your relationship with your mother, or even the healing a mother wound. And so, I think that's very very powerful. Yeah. So how about for you, Michelle? What are your hopes for your chapter and the book as it makes its way out in the world?
In my experience, and I've had this happen with some articles I've written, I think when you write your story, it allows other people who read it, as Denea said, and to recognize that, oh, this isn't just happening to me. And it allows them a moment to reflect on the fact that it is not them, they are not crazy, it is a situation, and that there might just be something in something I say or another author in their chapter has said that will be just that resonant thing that makes that person go, I need to stop, or I need to reevaluate. So I think just giving people that ability to reflect on themselves within what you're saying is the beginning point of what we call awakening.
Yes. Thank you, Michelle. Where can people connect with you and reach out and learn more about your work?
I'm everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, michellewollaston.com, any of those social medias. You just Google Michelle Wollaston. Luckily, there's not a lot of us, and you'll find me.
That's great. And Denea, I forgot to ask you, where can people connect with you and find you online?
Yes, so you can follow me on Instagram, Denea for Humanity 4, and my website is readingswithdenea.com.
Wonderful. We'll put all of that in the caption of this video and encourage you to pick up the book. So you can find that at awakenedheartbook.com, and you can find the Kindle version, the paperback, and the hardback there. And it would be much appreciated if you would leave a review. It's an easy way for you to help us spread the word about the book and all that's going on. So You guys, thank you so much for participating in the book, sharing your story, and being with us tonight. It is great to be with you. I always love spending time with you guys.
Thank you, David.
Thanks, David.